had always thought his life was ordinary. A human explorer in the outer reaches of the galaxy, he had visited hundreds of planets, seen countless strange creatures, and cataloged things no one on Earth could imagine. But nothing had prepared him for. He first saw her on the edge of the crystal forest, her form glowing softly under the light of the planet's twin suns. She moved with a grace that seemed impossible, like liquid flowing over rocks, smooth and natural. Her skin shimmered with a silver-blue hue, reflecting the sunlight in patterns that danced across the ground. Her eyes, the color of deep violet, looked straight at him, and for a moment he felt like she could see into his very soul. Froze, he had never felt such an intense mixture of awe and nervousness. His heart beat faster, his hands tingling as if electricity were flowing through his veins. He knew he was starring, he couldn't help it. And then she spoke. "Do you wish to feel it?" Her voice was soft, melodic, almost like wind chimes floating on a gentle breeze. He blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly. "Feel what?" he asked, though the words felt small and clumsy in the presence of something so extraordinary. Tilted her head, a gentle smile curving her lips. She didn't answer with words. Instead, she moved closer, each step quiet yet deliberate. Her presence was magnetic, pulling him toward her without force. The air seemed warmer near her, alive, buzzing with energy that didn't know how to describe. For the first time in his life, realized he wasn't just looking at something beautiful. He was on the edge of understanding something far greater than himself. It wasn't just her appearance. It was the feeling she radiated, a strange mixture of joy, curiosity, and longing. She lifted a delicate hand, her fingers stretching toward him, but she didn't touch. "Do you feel the pulse of the world?" she whispered, her voice wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. "Do you hear it, the song beneath the silence?" Shook his head. He could feel the air shift, sense the subtle vibrations of life around them, the hum of plants, the whisper of the wind, the quiet rhythm of water flowing beneath crystalline stones. Yet he didn't fully understand. He wanted to, though. He wanted to feel exactly what she felt. I don't know," he admitted. His voice was shaky. He wasn't embarrassed, just amazed. He had never encountered anything like her, anything that made him feel so small and alive at the same time. Smile widened and she leaned slightly closer. "Then let me show you," she said, her eyes gleaming with warmth. "Do you wish to feel it?" Swallowed hard, something in her gaze and the way the light played across her shimmering skin made him trust her. He nodded slowly. "Yes," he whispered, almost to himself. She laughed softly, a sound like music spilling over rocks. It was not a boast or a trick, it was pure, gentle encouragement. She reached out again, this time brushing her fingers just against his arm. A spark of warmth shot through him, not painful, not shocking, just alive. It was like touching sunlight or the first drop of rain after a long drought. It made him shiver. "Feel it," she whispered again, guiding him to close his eyes. "Not with your mind, not with your hands, with your heart, with your soul." Did as she said. The moment his eyes closed, everything changed. Colors became more vivid, even behind his eyelids. Sounds, even the faintest ones, became richer, layered with subtle harmonies he had never noticed before. The air felt thick with life, each molecule carrying a story he could almost understand. And then he felt her, not just her touch, but her presence, her energy, the warmth of her curiosity and joy, reaching into him, touching corners of his mind and heart he had never known existed. It was overwhelming, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. When he opened his eyes again, was still there, smiling softly, waiting. He realized he wasn't just starring anymore. He was connected. In a way he had never experienced before, he understood that the universe was far larger, far more beautiful than he had ever imagined. And that thought was just the beginning, couldn't stop thinking about. Every detail of her shimmered in his mind. The way her silver-blue skin caught the twin suns, the soft curve of her smile, the quiet, teasing sparkle in her violet eyes. Even after hours of walking through the alien forests, cataloging strange plants and minerals, his thoughts returned to her. He found himself lingering near the crystal river where he had first met her, hopping to catch another glimpse. And there she was, as if she had been waiting for him. Her form glided across the water like a reflection of light itself, and when she saw him, her violet eyes brightened. You returned, she said, her voice carrying warmth and amusement. It wasn't a question. It was a statement of fact, gentle but undeniable. Nodded, almost breathless. I wanted to see more of your world, he admitted. His usual confidence as a human explorer felt fragile in front of her. Something about her made him feel like a child learning to feel for the first time. His laugh was soft, musical, like wind brushing through tall grasses. Then let us explore, she said, moving ahead. Without hesitation followed. The forest here was alive in ways had never experienced. Trees bent and shimmered as if acknowledging their presence. The air smelled sweet, almost like warm honey, and the sunlight filtered in delicate beams that danced across the ground. Strange creatures peeked from behind leaves, curious but unafraid, and moved among it all with such ease, touching leaves and flowers lightly, as if speaking to them without words. She noticed him staring again, but instead of embarrassment, she smiled knowingly. You are learning, she whispered. You are starting to feel it. Didn't know what to say. He wanted to ask her more, to understand everything, but words felt useless. Instead, he simply nodded, letting himself be carried along by her energy, by the quiet pulse of life that seemed to surround her. Over the next few days, and explored more of her planet together. She showed him glowing plants that hummed softly when touched, rivers that shifted colors like liquid rainbows, and skies where 3 moons rose and set in perfect harmony. Every moment was new, every experience overwhelming in its beauty. And yet it wasn't just the sights that captivated him. It was her. The way she laughed at simple things, the way her eyes glimmered when she noticed something delicate or hidden. The way she paused to let him feel, to guide him without pushing. She wasn't just showing him her world. She was teaching him how to feel it, to notice the subtle harmonies of life that humans often missed. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold, sat beside her on a smooth crystal rock. They watched the rivers of light flowing across the plains, silent except for the soft hum of the world itself. Do you feel it now? She asked, her voice almost a whisper brushing against his mind. Closed his eyes, letting the sensation flow through him. He could feel the energy in the ground, in the air, in the water, and in her presence beside him. Every pulse, every vibration of life seemed to speak directly to his soul. I think I understand, he said softly, though he knew words could never capture it fully. Reached out and touched his hand again, and this time it was different. It wasn't just warmth. He felt connection, as if the planet itself had become alive within him. A quiet joy, deep and honest, flowed through his chest. He realized then that she had awakened something in him that no human technology or science could ever teach. She leaned closer, her violet eyes meeting his. Feeling is not about knowing, she said. It is about accepting, being open, letting the universe speak to you. Humans forget this. You have remembered. Felt a mixture of pride and awe. He was human, small and limited, yet here he was, learning to touch a world in a way that even some aliens might never fully grasp. And beside him was, not just guiding him, but trusting him, sharing the deepest part of her experience without fear. He looked at her and felt something he hadn't expected. Hope. Not just hope for understanding her world, but hope for himself, for the possibilities of what humans could be if they dared to feel, dared to connect. That night, as he lay in his small tent under the shimmering alien sky, realized that had done more than show him her planet. She had opened his heart to a universe of emotions he had never known existed. And in that quiet, glowing forest, understood that this was only the beginning of something far greater than he could have imagined. Had never felt so alive, yet never so unsure of himself. Every day with brought new wonders, glowing plants that hummed under his touch, rivers that shifted colors as if responding to his emotions, skies that danced with 3 moons. But with every moment of awe came a creeping doubt. He was a human, fragile, temporary, and bound by the limits of his body and mind. Was something else entirely. Her energy, her grace, her understanding of life, it was far beyond him. And yet she trusted him, allowed him to experience what only her kind could truly feel. One evening, they sat on the edge of a cliff overlooking a valley bathed in the light of the setting suns. The wind was warm, carrying the scent of alien flowers, and the air pulsed with life. turned to him, her violet eyes calm, yet questioning. "Do you wish to feel it?" she asked softly. Swallowed hard, he wanted to more than anything, but fear knotted his stomach. I don't know if I can," he admitted. "I don't know if I belong here or if I can ever truly understand what you feel." Reached out and touched his hand. The contact was gentle, not commanding, not persuasive, simply present. "Feeling is not about belonging," she said. "It is about opening yourself without fear, without judgment. It is about accepting that the universe is larger than you and letting it move through you." Wanted to believe her. He tried, closing his eyes and reaching for the same energy he had felt before. But doubt kept creeping in. What if he failed? What if he couldn't reach her understanding? What if somehow he broke the fragile connection they had built? For the first time, he felt the weight of being human. The smallness, the imperfection. Seemed to sense it because she didn't press him. She simply sat beside him, letting her presence remind him that he was not alone. Days passed and struggled with himself. He wanted to explore more, to feel more, to understand more, but the fear of inadequacy lingered. Every time he saw, his heart leapt, yet his mind whispered caution. He felt like he was standing on the edge of a vast chasm, longing to leap but terrified of falling. In her quiet way, guided him without pushing. She led him through glowing forests and crystalline caves, taught him to listen to the rivers, the wind, and even the silent vibration of the rocks beneath his feet. "The world speaks to those who listen," she whispered one evening. "And you are beginning to hear." Still, the hesitation remained. One night, as he watched the three moons rise, admitted his fear to her. "I feel it. I want to, but I keep holding back. I don't want to lose what we have by failing." She smiled softly, brushing a hand over his cheek. "You cannot fail at feeling," she said. "There is no right or wrong. There is only being open, only letting the universe and life touch you. I am here with you. You are not alone." Her words, simple and sincere, reached into him. Slowly began to understand. It wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about human or alien. It wasn't even about knowing everything at once. It was about trust. Trust in himself, trust in her, trust in the connection that bound them together. The next morning stood at the edge of the valley again, eyes closed, taking a deep breath. The wind brushed against his skin, the ground pulsed faintly beneath his feet, and somewhere deep inside him he felt a spark of courage. Stepped beside him, smiling, and he reached for her hand without hesitation. For the first time, fear did not stop him. He let himself feel, not fully yet, not perfectly, but enough to know that he was ready. Ready to experience what she had asked, to step beyond the limits of being human and embrace something greater. And, sensing his readiness, whispered again, soft and steady, almost like the hum of the world itself. "Then feel it, let yourself be alive." At that moment, standing beside her, realized that hesitation could only last so long. The universe had opened its door to him, and he had a choice: step through or step back. For the first time, he knew he was ready to step forward. Heart pounded as he reached for his hand. The warmth that spread through him was immediate and unlike anything he had ever experienced. It wasn't just the warmth of her skin, soft and shimmering under the twin suns. It was deeper, an energy that pulsed through his veins, touching corners of his mind and soul he didn't even know existed. His eyes glimmered with a quiet joy, the kind of joy that made the world around her feel alive. She didn't speak, only guided him gently, letting him take the first step toward understanding. The air itself seemed to hum in response to their closeness, carrying a subtle vibration that resonated deep in his chest. "Feel it," she whispered, her voice soft and steady. "Not with your mind, not with your hands, but with everything you are. Let the planet, the life, and me touch you." Closed his eyes, trying to obey. At first, it was overwhelming. Every sound, every shimmer of light, every tiny shift in the air pressed on his senses at once. He could hear the river's quiet song, feel the whisper of wind over leaves, sense the gentle thrum of life beneath the crystal ground. And through it all, he felt her, her presence, her energy, the quiet depth of emotion she radiated. It was like standing in the center of the universe, feeling its heartbeat directly through his chest. His human mind struggled to comprehend it, but his heart understood. This was what she had meant. This was what she had offered when she asked him, "Do you wish to feel it?" And he did. As he opened his eyes, he realized the world had changed. Colors shimmered brighter, shadows carried subtle movements he had never noticed, and even the air seemed alive, vibrating with a rhythm that matched the pulse he felt inside himself. He looked at, and she was smiling, soft, patient, encouraging. "You are beginning," she said simply. "You do not need to understand everything at once. Feeling is not knowledge, it is presence." Felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. He had never realized how limited his senses had been, how dulled his awareness of the beauty around him. And yet here, with her guiding him, he felt alive in a way he could never have imagined. For the first time in his life, he didn't just see the world. He felt it. He didn't just hear the rivers or the wind. He understood their song, and the realization that he could share this experience with made it even more profound. She reached for his hand again, letting her fingers rest lightly on his. The connection between them deepened, not through words, but through a mutual understanding. Felt a warmth and tenderness he had never known, a quiet intimacy that transcended language or culture. She wasn't just an alien. She was a teacher, a guide, and something far more, someone who had opened the door to a universe he had always longed to explore. Took a deep breath, letting the energy flow through him, letting it fill every corner of his being. He realized that he had been living half awake before, seeing the universe only as a collection of objects and facts. But now, he could feel it as a living, breathing entity, and he was part of it. "Thank you," he whispered, though the words felt small compared to the depth of feeling in his chest. Smile deepened. "There is nothing to thank me for," she said. "You chose to open yourself, you chose to feel. That is the greatest gift any being can give." The twin suns dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold. Looked around, seeing the world anew. Every leaf, every shimmer, every sound pulsed with life. And for the first time, he didn't feel small. He felt connected, whole, alive. When he turned back she met his gaze with quiet certainty, as if she had known all along that he could feel this way. Realized that in guiding him, she had also trusted him, and that trust made the moment even more profound. He reached out, touching her shoulder lightly, and felt an electric warmth that spread across both of them. It wasn't romantic in a simple way. It was deeper, a merging of understanding and emotion that transcended words. He didn't know what the future held, but in that moment nothing else mattered. He had felt it, and it was beautiful. For the first time, truly understood what she had been asking. "Do you wish to feel it?" And he had answered without hesitation, because some doors once opened could never be closed. The days following's first true connection were some of the most beautiful of his life. He explored her planet with a newfound sense of wonder, every detail by the energy that now pulsed inside him. The colors were brighter, the air richer, and every sound carried meaning he had never noticed before. But along with this beauty came a new, unexpected weight, a conflict hadn't anticipated. It began subtly. Sometimes when he tried to share his feelings, he struggled to find words. Humans were limited in ways was not. She spoke in a language of feelings and energy, and though he was learning, it was impossible to match her full understanding. He could feel the pulse of the rivers, the rhythm of the air, and the quiet hum of the crystalline ground. But there were moments when he faltered, when he doubted himself. Noticed, she would watch him, her violet eyes questioning, soft yet intense. "You are thinking too much," she whispered one evening as they rested by a glowing waterfall. "You are letting your fear cloud the connection. Do you wish to feel it, or do you wish to control it?" Looked down at his hands, feeling small and inadequate. I don't know," he admitted. "Sometimes I fear that I will never feel as fully as you do, that I will fail or break the connection we have." His expression softened. She reached out and brushed a strand of his hair away from his face. "You cannot fail at feeling," she said gently. "Connection is not about perfection, it is about presence. It is about letting yourself exist with the world and with me. That is enough." Still's human doubts persisted. He wanted to live up to her, to match her understanding, but he felt the limits of his body, his mind, and his emotions. The pressure weighed on him, turning moments of joy into quiet tension. Even small missteps, a hesitation, a faltering word, a misread gesture, seemed amplified in his mind. One night the tension reached its peak. They were exploring a valley of glowing flora, the air thick with the scent of alien blooms. stumbled slightly, brushing against a delicate plant. His eyes widened in alarm, and though she didn't speak harshly, he felt the sharp pang of guilt. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. "I didn't mean to." "You are afraid," she said softly, stepping closer. Her hand rested lightly on his shoulder. "You let fear govern your actions. That is what separates you from truly feeling it." Felt his chest tighten. He knew she was right. Fear had always been a human companion, small, fragile, cautious. But here, in this world of beauty and energy, fear was a barrier between him and something greater. And he realized that he had been holding himself back, even when he thought he was moving forward. "I don't want to fail you," he whispered, voice trembling. "I don't want to lose you." His violet eyes softened and she smiled. Connection is not about possession. It is not about avoiding mistakes. It is about being open. You have nothing to lose except your fear. That is what stands in your way. For a long moment, just looked at her. Her words were simple, yet they carried the weight of truth. He realized that all his hesitations, all his doubts, had been a wall he built around himself. He wanted to feel fully, to experience the connection without restraint, but he had been clinging to fear, to the limits of being human. That night he lay awake in his tent under the glowing sky, thinking of her words. He understood that the conflict was not between him but within himself. He had to let go. He had to trust. Trust in himself, trust in her, and trust in the universe she had shown him. The next morning he found waiting, her hand extended. "Do you wish to feel it?" she asked, the familiar whisper carrying a challenge and a promise. Took a deep breath and nodded. This time he didn't hesitate. The fear that had plagued him for days melted away in the warmth of her gaze. He reached for her hand, and in that simple touch he felt the barrier fall. He was ready. For the first time, realized that the greatest conflict was not between worlds, not between species, but within the heart of a human brave enough to dare feeling. And in letting go, he discovered a freedom deeper than any galaxy, richer than any treasure he had ever sought, had learned to let go of fear, and it changed everything. The moment he released the doubts that had chained him, the universe seemed to expand around him. Colors became richer, sounds deeper, and even the air itself seemed to hum with life. He could feel the pulse of the planet, the rhythm of its rivers, the quiet heartbeat of its glowing flora. And through it all's presence anchored him, steady and luminous. One evening, as 3 moons rose over the crystalline plains, painting the world in silver and violet, guided to the edge of a glowing lake. Its waters reflected the moons, creating the illusion of an infinite sky beneath their feet. She took his hand, and he felt a current of energy flow between them, subtle yet undeniable. "Do you feel it now?" she whispered, her violet eyes shimmering in the moonlight. Closed his eyes, letting the sensation wash over him. It was overwhelming, yet gentle, like standing at the heart of the universe and being embraced by everything at once. He felt the connection between himself and the world, between himself and between himself and life itself. Every vibration, every pulse of energy seemed to speak directly to his soul. I feel it," he said softly, his voice trembling with awe. "I understand now. It's not just the world, it's everything. It's you, it's me, it's the way life moves through us." Smiled, a quiet, radiant smile that made the entire lake seem to shimmer brighter. "Yes," she said. "Feeling is not knowledge, it is experience. It is living fully without fear or hesitation. You have opened yourself, and in doing so, you have touched more than the planet. You have touched life itself." Turned to look at her, and in that moment he saw not just her physical beauty, the shimmering skin, the violet eyes, but the essence of who she was. She was energy, joy, curiosity, and love all at once. She was alive in a way that description, and she had chosen to share it with him. He realized then the depth of what she had offered. This was more than a connection. It was trust, vulnerability, and understanding beyond species, beyond worlds. And it terrified him. Because he wanted it, and he wanted her, but he feared losing himself in the process. Seemed to sense his thoughts. She leaned closer, her hand brushing his cheek. "Do not fear," she whispered. "There is no loss here. There is only presence, only feeling, only us." Took a deep breath and let himself lean into her, closing the space between them. For the first time, he felt fully understood, fully accepted. Their energy merged, not physically, but in a way that transcended words and touch. He could sense her joy, her wonder, her quiet hope flowing into him, and he felt his own emotions ripple back to her. Tears came unbidden to his eyes, not of sorrow, but of awe. He had never experienced anything like this, not on Earth, not in all his explorations. He realized that humans were capable of more than he had ever believed, that connection, love, and empathy were the most powerful forces in the universe. His voice broke the silence, soft and sure. "Do you see now? This is what I meant when I asked if you wished to feel it. Not the world, not the sights, not the sounds, but the life inside it, the energy that flows through all things, and the bond we can share if we let ourselves." Nodded, words failing him. Instead, he held her hand, feeling the warmth, the pulse, the life flowing between them. In that moment, he understood that the barriers between human and alien, between worlds, were meaningless compared to the power of trust and connection. The moons cast long reflections across the lake and felt a profound peace settle over him. He was no longer just a human exploring an alien world. He was part of something larger, something alive, something eternal in its simplicity and truth. "I wish to feel it always," he whispered, barely audible, yet carrying all the weight of his heart. Smiled and leaned close, their foreheads touching lightly. "Then you will," she said, "as long as you remember to open yourself to trust and to let life flow through you." Realized in that instant that he had changed forever. He had not only discovered the wonders of this world, but he had discovered the depth of his own capacity to feel, to love, and to connect. And nothing, not distance, not fear, not difference, could take that away from him. For the first time, he truly understood the meaning of her question, "Do you wish to feel it?" And he had answered with all that he was, stood on the edge of the glowing plain, watching the twin suns set over the horizon. The sky was painted in deep violets, oranges, and golds, the light reflecting off the crystalline ground and shimmering rivers. He felt the pulse of the planet beneath his feet, alive and constant, as if the world itself were breathing with him. Beside him, moved gracefully, her presence as luminous as the light around them. It had been months since he first met her, months filled with wonder, learning, hesitation, fear, and finally connection. He had felt the world through her eyes, had opened himself fully to life and emotion, and in the process he had discovered a part of himself he never knew existed. The human who arrived on this planet was gone. What remained was someone alive in every sense, aware, open, and capable of feeling a universe he once thought too vast to touch. Reached for his hand, her touch gentle, familiar, and electric at once. "Do you feel it?" she asked, her violet eyes searching his with curiosity and warmth. Nodded, closing his eyes and letting the sensation wash over him. He felt the pulse of the rivers, the hum of the wind, the subtle vibrations of the crystal plains. And most of all, he felt her, the warmth of her energy, her joy, her quiet strength, and her trust. Everything they had shared, every step they had taken together, converged in this moment. "Yes," he whispered, his voice trembling with awe and certainty. "I feel it. I feel everything." Smiled, stepping closer. She placed her forehead against his and felt the subtle rhythm of her heartbeat, the flow of energy passing between them. It was not just connection. It was understanding, acceptance, and a bond that transcended worlds and species. In her presence, he felt infinite, and yet intimately human, fragile but extraordinary. They stayed like that for a long moment, letting the silence speak for them. Words were unnecessary. The world around them pulsed and shimmered, alive and breathing, a reflection of the bond they had built. Realized something profound. Love, understanding, and connection were universal forces. They were not limited to humans or aliens, planets or galaxies. They existed wherever hearts were open, wherever beings dared to feel. Pulled back slightly, her hand still in his. "Do you understand now? Feeling is not about control, not about fear. It is about surrendering to life, letting it move through you and trusting it to guide you." Nodded. "I understand," he said softly. "And I trust you, I trust this, us, everything." The moons rose one by one in the sky, casting silver light across the plains, and walked hand in hand toward the shimmering lake, the water reflecting their forms as if the universe itself approved of their unity. He realized that no matter what challenges awaited him, returning to Earth, leaving this planet, or facing the unknown, he would carry this feeling forever. The universe had opened itself to him, and he had stepped through the door with courage and heart. For the first time, he didn't just feel alive, he felt whole. stopped at the edge of the lake and turned to him. Do you wish to continue feeling it, beyond this moment, beyond time, beyond fear? He looked at her, the energy between them tangible, radiant, undeniable. He thought of all the doubts, the hesitations, the human limitations he had overcome, and he realized that the answer had always been clear. Yes, he said firmly, a quiet smile spreading across his face. I wish to feel it always with you. Smile deepened and she leaned close, letting him feel her energy intertwine with his own. It was gentle, powerful, and eternal all at once. He felt a warmth, a connection, a love that transcended species, planets, and time, and in that moment understood something simple yet profound. Humanity was not about conquest, knowledge, or survival. Humanity was about daring to feel, daring to connect, daring to love. He had arrived on this alien world as an observer. Now he was a participant, fully alive, fully open, fully human in the best way possible. And beside him shared that journey, their hearts and souls aligned in a bond that nothing could break. As the twin suns finally dipped below the horizon and the moons cast their silver glow across the lake, breathed deeply. He felt life, love, and the universe itself flowing through him. He had answered the question she had asked from the very beginning, do you wish to feel it? And he had said yes, with all his heart. The stars began to shimmer above and together and stood, hand in hand, ready to face whatever the universe had in store. They were alive, they were connected, and nothing could ever take that away.